Today we're going to be talking about the Diablo amped multi-material cutting blade. This is the 6-inch blade. I didn't need this for work. I just wanted to do a review on it and kind of get a feel for what it was like. So I picked this up and it is the 6-inch version. This blade says that it's good for wood with nails, of course, PVC, and also steel up to 3/8 inch. Interestingly enough, it says that it's good for steel that's from 1/8 inch to 3/8, and I'm pretty sure that's because they feel the teeth would tear up really thin gauge steel and like bend it and warp it really bad. So probably wouldn't be a great idea to use on super thin gauge stuff, but up to 3/8 is probably pretty realistic. This was my first cut with this blade. I wanted to kind of get a feel for how it would do sharp on steel first, and then how it would react to wood after the fact. And this is 3/16 inch wall 2x2 architectural angle, and as you can see, it actually does pretty well. Speed wise, it's not super slow. It's not the fastest thing out there, but it's definitely not super slow, and you could definitely get through it. And then it went over and it cut this 2x4 pretty well. Now, keep in mind, this is a multi-material general contractor's blade, so it's not going to be the fastest or the most efficient out there. So this is one blade does it all kind of concept, and it cut through this 1/8 inch wall 2x2 square with no problem whatsoever either. And remember, at points we're going through 2 walls, so basically, it's a 1/4 inch thick that it's cutting through at one point. Well, it's kind of weird because it's not a 1/4 inch thick, but it's 2 thicknesses of 1/8 that are creating friction on the blade at the same time. So part of the efficiency would be the blade itself, and then some would be the reciprocating saw. This is about a 13-year-old 18 volt Makita. So it's probably not nearly as powerful and good as some of the newer, reciprocating saws would be. And so this blade could probably do a little bit more with, newer reciprocating saw as well. However, that all being said, as you saw, it cut through all that steel. It cut through the pine 2x4. Now this is a rock hard piece of green ash that I just cut through. And it was a little slow through it. There were some issues with the shoe getting caught on bark and stuff, but it did okay. And then here is a piece of 4x4 cedar post, and as you can tell, there's about a 1/4 inch overlay in the end stroke, so you couldn't cut much larger than 3.5 inch, at least with this reciprocating saw with the 6-inch blade, because it just wouldn't go all the way through. And once again, more 2x4s after that. And this is a stretch of G70 transport chain. So this is like heavy equipment chain. And I was actually surprised at how well it cut through this chain linkage. And here in a second, I'll bring it up to the camera. You can see just how clean that cut is. And chain is not easy. Transport chain is not an easy thing to cut through. It's pretty tough stuff, and because of the shape of it, makes it harder to cut. But it did a really good job with that, just being clamped down with that little Husky 4-inch, C-clamp there. And it was a super clean cut. I was really impressed by that. Now, I will say that overall, I feel like this is a general contractor's blade, and it's not going to be great at any one thing. It's going to be good at multiple things, but not great. If you want to cut wood and be more efficient and fast or whatever, if you're going to cut hardwoods like that ash and it's only wood, then a different blade would definitely be better. This one just can happen to do it. So if you're like maybe an electrician or a plumber and you find yourself cutting through cast iron, different things, and wood, all kind of wood at the same time, and speed isn't nearly as important as not having to like carry multiple blades with you to swap out, like if you're in a crawl space or under a cabinet or something like that. Same thing, maybe an electrician in the attic and you want one blade that does it all with a reciprocating saw. this would be a great thing. Of course, if you use this blade and you're cutting through wood and you hit like a bolt or something, not a problem. It can do it. I will say that this blade tends to cut steel better than it does wood. It will cut through the wood, as we've seen. It's not terrible at it, but it's not the most efficient. And you could cut through the wood faster. You could even get a like demo blade that's just for wood and nails that would cut faster than this one would. This one is really kind of like their utility blade of all blades, being carbide. They say it lasts 100 times longer. I always have a hard time finding information that tells you exactly how they classify that, like what materials. Is it 100 times longer lasting cutting through steel only, or through wood, or both? It's kind of hard to tell. So I think that's more of a marketing thing. It is a long lasting blade. I've been surprised with how long it lasts. So kind of keep that in mind. But it's not the longest lasting blade or the most efficient out there for every situation. Just keep that in mind. I do think it's a good general blade. They say it can cut through like lath and plaster. I didn't have any around to cut, so I didn't get to try that. I would definitely say it would probably be better for plastics and steel rather than for wood. So if you do more wood, there are other blades out there that I would recommend, but it will do the job and it's not terrible. And after I've cut all that steel, and I mean, I've probably made 30 or so cuts in the last 2 days on steel and wood, it still has life in it. It's not burnt out. They also have this same blade that's not carbide, and I'll be doing some tests on it and see what the differences are between the carbide, the feel of the carbide, and how long I feel like it would last compared to the non-carbide. I'm assuming that once we do some steel cutting with the non-carbide, which it will probably cut the steel no problem, I have a feeling it won't have much life in it left. So that would probably be the big difference.